Right, we're not far from Easton Royal, and not far from Everley as well. Eavor Leach in Old English, and which means boar wood or boar clearing. And we're looking for a Roman road. This is Paul. You might recognise him from the internet. And you're into Roman roads.
I love Roman roads. Yeah, I love any kind of old route. And I think this Roman road, Margry. So yeah, so this is Margry Route 44, and him and others before him didn't really give us a lot of information about it. There's a clear section of agate back in Savanac, but other than that, we don't really have a lot to go on. So that's why I'm sort of fascinated by today's journey.
This is that section of agate that Paul was talking about. In fact, on this screen we've got two. We've got a road coming up from Andover here on the right, and on the left this is our hypothetical road from Salisbury. And then underneath the canopy of Savanac, it's very convincing. But this is the only piece of agate we see for miles and miles and miles.
Because you've introduced for me a whole new light to how we can find this road through the medium of Anglo-Saxon charters. So it's a fascination for me to be able to do something different, where my love of routes, normally having a look on the ground and seeing what I can find. And yeah, this is something very different today, which is I'm very excited.
Yeah, he's such a gentleman, isn't he? So it's now time for our special section, guest star in a reasonably priced hedge, where Paul Whitewick is going to identify as many species as he can in a hedge. The whole point is we're going to use the Hooper equation to date this hedge, and he's ready.
On Tom's instruction, I've just counted 30 yards, 30 metres. Why have I done that? Why have I done that, Tom?
Well, what we're doing is we're dating this hedge, and we're taking it from that bush down there, and we for every distinct species of woodland tree in this hedge is 110 years. And once you've added them all up, you add 30, and that will date when this hedge was planted.
Okay.
It's the Hooper equation. That looks a long 30 yards, doesn't it? But anyway.
Well, maybe I mean.
No, this is.
I mean, yeah, kind of here.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
So right. Okay. So what?
So what do I do?
I don't know what that is. But should we call it unknown species number 1?
Yeah.
What is it? Right, that's a bad start. Anyway, one unknown species number 1. What's that over there then? That's a hawthorn. Right, so we're only looking for woody species. So that's 2.
Have we got something sticking out the top?
Yeah. So that's an elder. That's 3.
What about that?
Well, it's dead, so.
Does that not count?
So that probably doesn't. Oh no,
got some shoots.
No, it's dead.
Okay.
I think it is one of the plums, so probably blackthorn. Anyway, so it's 3. 4 is the. Anyway, you should be doing this.
All right.
4. That's a rose.
Rose.
Yeah, that's a wild rose. That's elder. We've already done that.
That's hawthorn again?
Yeah.
Good at this.
Yeah.
Elder.
Yeah.
Hawthorn. Elder. It's not that old, is it?
No other species. That's 5 species in 30 yards. So it's 550 plus 580 years is the theory. That's been here.
That's a bit disappointing, isn't it?
Well, I don't know what was going on in the English Civil War. No, before then. So within the Reformation, that's quite exciting.
That needs to be a segment on every video.
So Paul Whitewick, you might recognise him from the internet. He's got a really good channel on sort of highways and byways of the English countryside. He subscribe here. Anyway, he's been looking for this Roman road from Old Sarum down here, which is an Iron Age hill fort which the Romans took over and named Sorviodunum. It goes up here past Bulford's army camp, along the highlands, along the downlands next to that Enford I was talking about a couple of videos ago, and then up through to Savernake Forest. Now we know it definitely went that sort of direction because this is Sorviodunum, definitely Roman, and there's definitely a Roman, a massive fortification just to the north of Savernake Forest. But we can also see it from the agger, the earthwork that a Roman road makes, which is just inside Savernake Forest. Now nobody's really sure that this Roman road exists past Savernake because there's no agger. And Paul's been eagerly looking for evidence of its existence because it's a sort of missing piece in the Roman the Roman network in this area. Now Marjorie, he talks of Route 44, and he's pretty sure it is. The old antiquarian Colt Hall, he describes to us the agger in Savernake Forest. But it's the rest of it. Does it exist? Well, in 2015, some archaeologists in Eastern Royal, doing a dig there, looking for medieval stuff, found the Roman road there and described it coming up this road here, which, if you look in one of my previous videos, I describe as the Hera path in the Saxon charter of Collingbourne, Kalingaburna. So we have the English, the Anglo-Saxon English charters. Do they add anything? Do they add anything more to this story?
Okay. So this is Crow Down clumps, but also
it's Guthredisberg, and also this is another thing. If you're learning how to interpret charters, you can cross-reference. So there are 3 charters that touch this point from 3 different villages.
okay.
So you have Collingbourne, which is Kalingaburna in Old English.
Yep.
You've got Burgage, which is Bergbach, which is just down there, and you've got what encompasses at a different period Burbage as well, which is Great Bedwin, and those 2 talk about Earthberg, which means earthbury, an earth fortification. So we have Collingbourne talks of Guthredisberg, which is Guthred's fortification, and the other 2 say earth fort.
But we're essentially talking about the same thing.
It's the same place.
An X on the landscape, a marker for us to work out. Yes.
Yeah. But it's not just that, because that could be just a massive coincidence. You've got Pendes Cleave, which is just over here. Now that's called Pendes Cleave in all of them, but is also in the tithe map of the 1841, I think, something like that. It talks of a place called Pensley. And what has happened is that over the last 1,000 years, it's gone from being Pendes Cleave to Pendes Ler, which means Lee, and then becomes Pensley. So the whole of that area around that farm, there's several of them, so it's not accidental. There's several fields called Pensley and Pinsley around just down here, and that is Pendes Cleave in the Saxon period. So you are, it's all these. They're not 100% proof each individually, but you put them all together, it creates a picture.
And then how does that work us on our, at what point do we know the Herapath in one of the charters relates to this?
Well, we got back there where we were with Falston. I don't know whether we covered that. There was a fork in the road.
Yep.
I often thought the Herapath went up this road, but it doesn't, because it says go down the Herapath, then up the hill and the berg. So you can see that is easily described by going down the path to the left, going up the hill to its right, and up to the berg, which is here.
Right.
So that's, yeah. So that over there, that wood there, to the right of it, Grundy describes, and Grundy, Professor Grundy is the guy who did translated hundreds of Saxon charters, to the right of it is a path that comes here. You can see it on the OS map, and he calls that the Well Way, which might mean either one of two things. So for us antiquarians who get all a bit overexcited, it might mean Welsh, or the alternative is Wall Way, and it does eventually come up to a wall up here, which is Guthredisburg. But this area around here is crisscrossed with old road names. You have the White Way over there, up on the hills, the Green Way, you've got the Well Way. There is a road that I can't work out where it is, but it is named. It should go along here, and it's called the Mira Way, which is pond or lake or marshy ground way. And of course you've got the Hera path there. So you've got a number of really old road names.
So are there any other Saxon charters that talk about this Roman road? Well, there are two charters on the route, very close to it, which are pretty damn near to the Roman road, and both describe strats, which is a Saxon word for a Roman road. There's Emford, see previous video, one of my previous videos. That talks of a strat twice in these two places, in my opinion. I think it's a branch road. I think it's a branch Roman road that goes through Enford. It also talks of about Chester path, which is Chester refers to a Roman settlement as far as the Saxons are concerned. There is also, so that charter is very tantalising, very, very close, but I'm not sure it describes this particular road. The other charter is Idmiston, which can't be solved. If you can solve it, I would be very, very pleased. I would love to see it. It couldn't be solved by Grundy. I can't solve it either. The Grundy gets it quite wrong. He's done this before. He chops parishes into half, which for no reason whatsoever, and I don't understand why he's done it. But the strats that it talks about in this charter, there are two Roman roads that go through this parish, our road and the Portway, and it's definitely not the Portway, because the charter describes going along the strat, and no part of the boundary today goes along the Portway, and it does go along our Roman road. But I can't solve any of the other boundary markings, so it will just have to remain tantalising until somebody else can work it out, or there's new information in the future.
A lot of it.
I do want to interview you about you. So Paul, is it just Romans, or is it all sorts of other things you're into?
It's anything that falls into my head, really. Anything that I think that's really interesting. I just think I'd make a video about it, because often my videos are around a journey of me learning something. So I'm no historian. I just think I'm learning something that's really interesting here. I'll tell the story of me learning it, even if there's no story. The story is me waffling about it and just emptying my head onto camera, basically. So yeah, it can be Roman roads, it could be abandoned railways and canals, it could be just anything and everything that falls into my head, really. Often prehistory, often Iron Age, but you name it.
Yeah, so it's not an engineering thing, because I get that impression, you know, you've got canals, railways, Romans, all things that represent engineering to me.
That's a good point. I've never really thought about it like that, but potentially it's more of where there's a bit of an intrigue or a bit of a mystery, something to solve,
yeah.
Which is why I enjoy your work, because every video you present a problem, which is, where is this charter, where does it go, and you look at it and try and find it out. And that's why I'm fascinated by today's little journey, because we have just that. We have a real mystery of nobody really knows where this route went, and all of a sudden we've got something now which is a tangible historical record which could tell us.
Yeah.
So I guess engineering, yes, that does fascinate me, how people surveyed and how they came up with a route and all the different areas and how they pieced together. But That's not the be all and end all, but yeah, it's a engineering. Never looks at it like that. I like that.
Anyway, that's the end of my video. Thank you for watching. Thank you in particular to Paul for coming down and being such a giggle. Had a really good laugh, so much so that I had to use some of his footage because I just wasn't doing any recording. It's been excellent. He was very charming, and yeah, and his channel is just brilliant. Go over there and have a look yourself and subscribe. Thank you, Paul, for your support, and I hope we'll do something again in the future. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you too in the future. Ta-ra for now.